There's a quiet moment that comes to everyone's life, a moment where you sit alone, maybe late at night, maybe early in the morning, and you start asking yourself a question that feels heavier than everything else. What am I really doing with my life? It doesn't always come with drama. Sometimes it comes in silence, in the middle of scrolling, in the middle of doing something you don't even enjoy. And deep down, you feel it, a small discomfort. Like something inside you knows you are capable of more, but you're not quite there yet. The truth is, most people don't fail because they aren't talented. They don't fail because they aren't smart enough. They fail because they never fully decide who they want to become. They live reacting to life instead of shaping it. Think about it. Every single day, you wake up with 24 hours. The same 24 hours that successful people have. The same 24 hours that someone out there is using to build something meaningful, to learn, to grow, to struggle, and to move forward. And at the same time, someone else is using those same hours to delay, to avoid, to distract themselves from their own potential. The difference is not time. The difference is how you choose to use it. And that choice, it's not made once, it's made every single day. Maybe you've told yourself before, I'll start tomorrow. Maybe you've said, I just need the right moment. But here's the hard truth. There is no perfect moment. There is only the moment you decide that enough is enough. Because growth doesn't begin when everything is easy. Growth begins when things are uncomfortable, when you don't feel like doing the work, but you do it anyway. When you don't feel confident, but you still take the step. When you don't see immediate results, but you keep going. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent when it's hard. And most people misunderstand this. They think motivation will carry them. They wait to feel inspired before they act. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline is what stays. Imagine a student who dreams of success, but only studies when they feel like it. Compare that to someone who studies even when they're tired, even when they'd rather do something else. Over time, the difference becomes huge. Not because one is smarter, but because one chose consistency over comfort. Your future is not built in big dramatic moments. It's built in small repeated actions that no one sees. It's built in the mornings when you choose to wake up instead of hitting snooze again. It's built in the hours you spend learning something new while others are distracted. It's built in the decisions you make when no one is watching. And here's something important. The journey will not be easy. There will be days when you doubt yourself. Days when progress feels invisible. Days when it feels like nothing is working. In those moments, most people quit. Not because they can't succeed, but because they can't tolerate the discomfort of the process. But the people who succeed, they understand something different. They understand that struggle is not a sign of failure, it's a sign that you are growing. Think about learning anything new. At first, it feels confusing, slow, frustrating, but that's exactly how growth feels. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it were comfortable, it wouldn't change you. You have to be willing to be bad at something before you become good at it, and that requires patience, real patience. Not the kind where you wait passively, but the kind where you keep working even when results are not immediate. Because success is rarely visible in the beginning. It builds quietly, beneath the surface, like roots growing before a tree becomes visible. Another truth that people often avoid is this: your environment matters. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the habits you repeat, they shape your thinking more than you realize. If you're constantly around negativity, doubt, and excuses, it becomes harder to believe in your own potential. But when you start exposing yourself to growth, to learning, to people who push themselves, your mindset begins to shift. You begin to see possibilities instead of limitations. And that shift, it changes everything. But let's be honest for a moment. Believing in yourself is not always easy, especially if you've failed before, especially if you've tried and things didn't work out. Failure has a way of making you question yourself. It makes you hesitate. It makes you wonder if you're really capable. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every skill you admire, Every achievement you respect, it was built through mistakes, through attempts that didn't work, through moments where someone could have quit but chose not to. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't is not that one never fails, it's that one keeps going after failure. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to keep moving. And sometimes, moving forward means starting small. It means not waiting to change everything at once, but focusing on one step at a time. One chapter studied, one skill practiced, one distraction avoided, 1 hour used well. These small steps might not feel powerful in the moment, but over time they create momentum. And momentum is what carries you forward when motivation fades. There's also something else you need to understand. Your life is not happening to you. It's happening through you. That means your decisions matter, your actions matter, the way you respond to challenges matters. You can't control everything. You can't control every situation, every outcome, every obstacle, but you can control how you react. You can choose to learn instead of complain, to try again instead of give up, to take responsibility instead of making excuses. And that choice, it's where your power is. At some point, you have to stop waiting for confidence and start building it. Because confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. It comes from doing the thing you're afraid of, from proving to yourself, step by step, that you are capable of more than you thought. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Yes, it will feel uncertain, but that's where growth lives. Not in comfort, not in routine, but in the space where you challenge yourself. So ask yourself, what is one thing you've been avoiding? One thing you know you should do, but keep delaying. That's where you should start. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Not because the task changes, but because your habit of delaying becomes stronger. And habits, they shape your future. You are either building habits that move you forward or habits that keep you stuck. There is no neutral. Every day, you are becoming someone. The question is, are you becoming the person you want to be? And if the answer is no, that's okay. What matters is what you do next. You don't need a completely new life overnight. You just need a new direction, a new commitment, a decision that from this point forward, you will take yourself seriously. Not in a harsh way, not in a way that pressures you to be perfect, but in a way that respects your potential, because you do have potential. Not in a vague, unrealistic way, but in a real, practical sense. You have the ability to learn, to improve, to adapt, to grow, and that's enough. You don't need to know everything. You just need to be willing to start. So take a moment, imagine yourself a few years from now. Not a fantasy version, but a realistic one. A version of you that stayed consistent, that kept learning, that didn't quit when things got hard. That version of you is not built by luck, it's built by choices. Choices you make today, right now, in this moment. Nothing is stopping you from deciding to do better, to try again, to take one step forward. It won't be perfect, it won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because one day you will look back at this version of yourself, the one who was unsure, who was hesitant, who was still figuring things out, and you'll realize something important. This was the moment everything started to change. Not because everything became easy, but because you decided not to stay the same.